We're back! Today Riley and I are going to go on a big adventure, but before we do, here's Riley! I think I woke Riley up a little bit whenever I was on my way. But with that said, we are going to be doing a grand adventure today, but I thought first we needed to come by Riley's base camp. And in order to do that, we had to come back into Vegas for something that's going to be unhinged. It's going to be super, super fun. I'm excited to take you guys along with me, but this video is about all the weird things that go into that particular day. So buckle up. We're going to do a little bit of a Q&A about having a base camp, and we're going to get ready to do something. I just don't know what yet. Tyson is so confused because I was here like 2 days ago and then I'm back again. Hi, Tai Tai. Hi, Tai Tai. Hello, buddies. Hello. And then there's Sammy. Hi, Sammy. Hi, Sammy. I picked Sammy up last time I was here. Yeah, he doesn't forget easily. So he's probably like, okay, but wait until you're asleep and then whack, whack, whack. I just locked up the van and we have to figure out what all we're doing today. So we're gonna do a little brainstorming first. I think this is Riley. Riley, are you in there anywhere?
Yeah, I am.
Is that you?
Well, hold on, I lost myself.
You lost yourself in being a cozy fluffy bear? Are you practicing for the outside?
I am practicing for the outside. It's also kind of chilly.
Fair, fair. So I have a Q&A. People have asked a lot of questions about having a base camp, and since you have a base camp and I have a base camp, the first question that people ask me is why do I have a base camp?
Because it's nice to have a base camp.
Fair, fair. Now, when I first started out on the road, I didn't make any money off of the internet whatsoever. And so what I would do is I would work and then I would travel, then I'd work and I'd travel. And having that luxury of being able to sit in one place was very nice because it makes working and then traveling a little bit easier because you have one place that you can hub out of. Now, after I started making money doing what it is that I enjoy doing, I didn't want to stop that because it still gives me the access to having a place to stay near family and being able to have that place to have that like quiet retreat. Now, I know a lot of people online think that you have to be full-time in order to do van life. That's just simply not the truth. In fact, over the past 8 years, I have met hundreds upon hundreds of people, and a lot of them still do have a base camp. They might be weekend warriors. They might be somebody who can travel only for a specific amount of time because they have a regular static job. They might be somebody who has a home because they still have responsibilities and they want to be able to go there in order to fulfill those responsibilities. So I don't think that if you are a traveler that you necessarily have to always be full-time. So today's video, as we go through this Q&A in our chaos, you'll see a little bit more about why we choose to have a base camp and how that helps us facilitate the things that we do here on our channels. Now, whenever you're watching this though, take into consideration these things and put into perspective what your goals are. There's nothing wrong with being full-time, but there's also nothing wrong with being part-time. And the whole goal of my channel is just to get you guys out there living life more fully. So please take this into consideration and envision yourself. Is this something that you could do? I bet it is. As we're sitting here working at Riley's base camp, she's working on a thumbnail, I'm doing a little research. One of the questions that we get asked pretty frequently is what are some of the perks of having a base camp? And I will say that one of the big ones is that whenever you work the way that we do, having a good source of dedicated Wi-Fi is absolutely amazing. Now, it isn't very often that I'm at my base camp, but whenever I am, I take that time and I just grind and grind and grind. So I'm on the road going nonstop, but whenever I am at my base camp, I usually don't leave. I just sit in front of my laptop and catch up and do all of the admin stuff that I need to do. Whenever I come to Riley's base camp, it's kind of the same thing. I sit down with her good Wi-Fi and I catch up so I can always stay ahead. On the road, it's very inconsistent to have good Wi-Fi. So if you are working, you're going to need some form of good Wi-Fi device or some kind of Starlink. And even with that, it can leave a little bit to the imagination of, oh no. So one of the things that I truly enjoy about the time at base camp is that I can catch up and get ahead. And it works out much more consistently rather than fishing around looking for something. And as you can see, for programs like Riley uses, you need to have good, consistent internet access in order to be able to get in there and really do the things. And so if we've been around and can't find a good Wi-Fi source anywhere, it makes working a little bit more hard. Now, lots of people do work from the road, but that comes at a premium also. In order to have Starlink, you have to have a subscription service. If you're not wanting to do a subscription service, you have to find a way to office. And that means that you're going to have to be a bit more patient with your time and find dedicated Wi-Fi that is good. Yesterday, I was at a super nice Starbucks, but I spent 6 hours there and couldn't get a single video uploaded. And so that was very discouraging. So having access to a base camp is super helpful. But at the same time, is it something that you have to have? Absolutely not. Again, you can be full-time on the road and figure it out. You just have to make sure that you're budgeting in those extra expenses of having that dedicated source. Now, as for me, I move so quickly that it doesn't make a lot of sense to set up a Starlink every single day. It just does not. So I use coffee shops, and it works a little bit more consistently for me that way because I know I can at least get the work done. Now, sometimes again, uploading very difficult, very stressful, and it's just something that I've signed up for, being on the road the way that I personally choose to. But with that said, we got a lot of stuff to do. We're gonna get this done, and then we're gonna start to get ourselves ready because we got a crazy day ahead.
Look, it's Sammy coming up to say hi. Hi, Sammy. Hi, buddies.
Now, the next question that I get pretty frequently about having a base camp is, how do I prepare myself when I'm going out to the road at my base camp to set myself up for success? And the base camp actually allows you to have a lot more space to spread out. So I can fully unpack my van and bring it inside if I need to, so I can sort through things, or I can just keep it kind of as is and bring things in and out. That's something that you don't have the luxury of if you are full-time. So it is nice to be able to do that. While we've been at Riley's house, for example, she had to do a complete and total setup change in her van, and so we had gone out, but she was able to return and change out some things because she has storage. Same thing for me. Anytime I'm getting ready to go somewhere, I always test it out by moving it around and kind of see how I live in the space before I fully take off on the road. So if I do any kind of changes, that is a good place for me to come back and be able to fix those issues in a place that's not a parking lot somewhere or a random field. And I also have the luxury of having like places for larger packages to come. So if I have something that I need to order for the van, I don't have to worry about getting a drop at a random post office and them denying my package because it's too large. So that's another benefit to having the base camp. But with that, we're trying to get ourselves together. I'm about to go grab a shower, and then we're gonna see if we can fix this face because we got activities to do and I look kind of tired today. So let's get it together. Okay, we've taken a shower and we're starting to get dressed. I still have a lot to do here, but I thought it was a good time to come downstairs to ask Riley this next one. A lot of people want to know what the function of a base camp is other than like a storage and a place to circle back to. And for this, I think that it's a really good one because Riley uses her base camp for a very similar reason to the reason I did whenever I first started out. So let's go talk. Riley, you're over here making us some foods.
Yeah.
But what do you think? What is one of the main reasons that you like having a base camp?
Well, I'm not full-time because I don't have a jobby poo on the road. So my work is here in Vegas, and my parents have a house here, so this is why it's my base camp. And so while I'm off at work, they watch Tyson for me.
That works.
Yeah.
I circle back to whenever I first started out, I would have to make money and then travel and then make money then travel. And I could technically be on the road full time at this point if I wanted to. However, I do still enjoy the nice comfort of having that base camp. I think there's a lot of people out there who feel super challenged by all of the overwhelming possibilities of getting on the road. And because of that, they think, oh, I have to sell everything, I have to move out, I have to find storage, and then I have to be on the road and figure out all of these other things. But instead, what you can do is you can use your base camp as a place to hub out of and then take shorter trips and lead into longer trips. And eventually, if you decide that it is the lifestyle for you, then you can do all of those things. However, the world around us is also pretty weird. So I definitely wouldn't recommend like selling your property at this point because property is something that is always going to be there for us. And we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves at the end of the day because public lands are closing frequently. So having a base camp has its value for sure. Now with that, we're gonna go see what Riley's actually making over here.
Today, we are making pastaroni.
Pastaroni!
Yeah.
Ooh. With freezer food.
Hamburger patties.
So you're probably thinking, why are you guys eating if you're about to go do something? Well, it's because we want to save money. And one of the ways that I've always turned to my base camp is whenever I need to save money, that is what I do. I go there, I hang out, I buy groceries, I just chill. I don't go and do a lot of extra things because I want to invest my money and my time into adventures and fun. And so a base camp is really great for that because it allows you to sit in one place with a purpose. And I think that that's also great. I really find it interesting that I've watched probably thousands of channels over the past 8 years, and many of the people that I have watched or communicated with have mentioned that they do enjoy being on the road, but they also like that comfort of having that backup plan. And so because of that, I thought this was a great way to Q&A it kind of today, was physically at a base camp. Now, I'm not at my base camp. That's all the way back in Texas. But the other nice thing about having a base camp and then also having a friend who has a base camp is you kind of have two different places that you can go to if you're in different areas and you have a crazy thing happen. The other day, whenever I was super stressed out about my tires and I was to a point of frazzled, I could have just gone to a campsite, but campsites were hard to find. And so Riley suggested doing a reset, and that was super smart. That's what I would have done if I was close to Texas too, just so I could kind of get my bearings on things. At the same time, when you're super far away from a base camp, that doesn't always work out. So sometimes you have to deal with those real life things. But having that and then having friends is always something that is super handy and helpful. And so that's why I host my annual Vanlife event for all my friends to come and have like a wind down moment in December. And I think that that is something that's kind of unique that I wouldn't be able to do if I was full time. Could we do a gathering? Sure, we could, but it would be in a remote space and we wouldn't have those amenities. But every so often, those nice little luxuries are cool. And I've never said on the channel that I'm going to be full time, nor have I ever said that I am full time. I've always said that I am part time on the road. I travel about 75% of the year, and these are the reasons why. I also like being able to be close to my family. If we have a family emergency or something, I can go home and I have a space that is my own. I like to be able to be home for the holidays because we do our big Christmas blowout and I love it. So many amazing Christmas lights. And also, if I have to go back to Texas at any point in time for anything with my van or anything with my tags or anything that I have to do with state mandated things such as like paperwork, I have a place to go, and I also have a physical mailing address. In this world today, there's more and more places that are not allowing you to register in their states so that you can kind of get around the loopholes. You also aren't allowed to do as many postal services now because places are starting to shut down for nomads. So the comfort of having that base camp is something that if you have the option to do, try it out first before you just automatically sell everything and go, okay, full time, here we come, because it does help with that transition for sure. And who knows, you may decide along the way that you don't really have to have as much as you think at that space, and because of that, it could work out for the better. Meanwhile, Riley is starting to chef it up over here for us. So Riley has these. We'll take a closer look at them. 73.27. These are ground beef patties. These are actually pretty nice. I could get some of these and put them into my freezer in the van possibly. I hadn't thought about that, but that would be a good way for me to have burgers on the road. I mean, I could do burgers and ooh, you know what would be really good with this? If I was to do like a healthy style burger with like some spinach. Ooh, yum.
Funny, but let's go with it.
We got some food. And then also something kind of funny for our videos. Do you notice Riley's shirt? Riley, turn.
Like
I need to see this.
90s!
Take me back to the 90s,
Yeah.
okay? I was made in the 80s, so we're gonna be very themed.
I wanted to be the 90s.
So Riley's being reminiscent of the 90s, which I personally love because there's so much good music from the 90s. Making that our time frame for which I think we're gonna have a song of the day. I think that we need to go back to the 90s, and I'm gonna pick out a really fun 90s jam.
Nirvana! Is that 90s?
Nirvana, that works. So we can do Smells Like Teen Spirit, so that works. Da-da-da. Yeah, we can't actually sing any of the lyrics because if we do, YouTube does this thing. So I was made in the 80s, I grew to appreciate the 90s, and we're about to go and have fun like we're in the 70s because we're gonna do dancing everywhere. Okay, Maybe we'll get there though. Maybe. Okay, water time because we gotta hydrate before the adventure. This is another nice thing about having a base camp. You can fill up all of your water, which is something that I plan on doing before I leave Riley's base camp again. Because why not? I do that at my base camp too. It works out pretty well. Oh no! She's made us some foodsies.
Woo.
I'm proud of you, Riley. You made us food. Cheers to Riley and the special food. Cheers, man. Way to go. Okay, that was a fail, epic fail. When you guys clicked onto this video, you were thinking, oh, this is gonna be a great Q&A. In all reality, welcome to the chaos. I told you it was gonna be chaos.
Chaos and mayhem!
Whenever we get together, it is just sheer fun, no matter where we are, whether we're in a base camp or at a place somewhere in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Tyson is always spicy, no matter where we are. But this just goes to show that you can have as much fun as you want, no matter where you are. That's kind of what I've said on the channel 1,000,005 times. I think it's important for us to live life fully, whether that means that we're inside four walls or we're on wheels. We can have fun everywhere. Fun comes in many forms. It comes in brain wrinkles. It comes in going out to beautiful places and just soaking them in at a campsite. And it also comes from hiking trails, nature, museums, crazy attractions, restrictions, and there's no wrong way to get out there and just live. Now, if you're not able to be full-time and you just want to take a weekend trip, again, that's okay. Go out of your base camp, put some things in your vehicle, head out to the middle of somewhere you hadn't been before, and enjoy it. But if you can be on the road a little bit more often, that doesn't mean you still can't have a good time when you are at your base camp. Now, most of the time, I do sit and grind whenever I'm at mine, and I don't do a whole lot. But at the same time, if I ever wanted to, I could call up a friend and say, hey, let's go and check out something funny, or go just have dinner. And these are all valid things that a base camp can come in handy for. So yeah, with that, I think Riley's almost finished with her coffee, so we can actually eat and then put on our faces, because
Oh my goodness.
nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see here. Just Riley being
Butter fell out.
Riley. Meanwhile, no flaxseed for me, not today. Probably should, but
You sure?
it's just not in my wheelhouse of things that I want to add today. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting today. Definitely interesting. So Riley was about to take a ginormous, delicious bite.
Yeah, and then you interrupted me.
Yeah, because I have a question for you. It's another question that we get asked pretty frequently about Basecamp. What do you think if you were telling somebody who was wanting to hit the road and they were a little hesitant and they had an apartment that they might have a lease on?
Oh.
Would you tell them to forego their lease and get out immediately and get on the road? Or would you tell them to stick it out for a little bit?
Stick it out, because as someone who broke in a lease more than once, it is very expensive. I guess it kind of depends on where you are too. Like if you're able to work it out with your landlord and sublease it, sure, that's fine. But don't break the lease. Don't waste that money.
I agree.
Just wait.
I agree. It's worth it to just take your time and take small steps toward the goal if the goal is full time, instead of putting yourself in a financial bind.
Yep, don't start your life on the road with debt.
Exactly. Now, if your goal ultimately is to be full-time and you don't want a base camp, that's okay too. But again, don't put yourself in a place that you're going to have to pay more bills, because especially if you haven't worked out all the kinks of like a part-time job on the road or a full-time job remote, then you're going to be adding something that's going to then make you have more stress. So I wouldn't recommend that either. I get asked pretty frequently, should I just get out of my place and then just go on and start van life? I feel like if you have several months left, just work toward getting to a place where you can put that back so that you can put it toward van life, but also don't put yourself in a bind, because paying out of a lease is really a big deal. Not to mention if you're breaking that lease at any point in time and then you don't get that paid off correctly, then that goes against you. So if you decide that after you've been on the road, van life is not for you, then you put yourself in a bad kind of way. So it's better to just go ahead and go through the motions of being there and then take your next step in a way that is very freeing at the end of that, instead of just renewing. So I hope that's helpful to the people who asked that one, but we got some more, so we're gonna finish eating and then we'll talk about those upstairs. Okay, we're getting ready. We look crazy. It always looks weirder before it looks better. But Riley,
What?
we have another question. Yeah, someone asked what the one thing that you wish you could take from your base camp was that might not necessarily fit in your space. Stuff like this, a bathroom, a real life bathroom.
Yeah. And I've gotten really obsessed with Korean skincare lately, and so it's actually very like little right now. Like I need to restock. This is me needing to restock. I wish I could bring this all.
I agree.
If I was in a bigger rig, maybe, but because I'm only in the tiny Subaru,
Fair.
it's not smart to bring all of these.
Fair.
So like, for instance, I have a daytime, nighttime, every product.
Nice.
Don't worry, I've dumbed it down to an 8-step skincare routine.
So if you could have that, you would take that with you.
Probably.
Fair, because if I could take my makeup station with me that I have at my house, I would love that, because I have a really nice makeup station with a big mirror, kind of like this. Hi guys. But it has lights all around, and I love just sitting down and having that time to do my makeup. It's one of the things I enjoy doing. I look a little crazy right now because we're nowhere near the phase of it being ready, but it's fun to do your makeup. It's fun to like get dressed and make yourself feel good, not necessarily because you have to, but because you want to sometimes. And so I do wish I could take that with me sometimes. I think that'd be kind of cool. Now I know a lot of people would say, oh, I would like to have my base camp bed. Also fair, fair. Guys, so we decided to go ahead and switch it up just a little bit. Originally we were going to represent the 80s and 90s, but we decided we wanted to match, and guess what? We have matching shirts. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a weird day today, but I hope you've enjoyed coming along just to see little bits of our chaos, and then also for us to answer these questions about Basecamp. I think it's really important for us to all boost up and uplift one another, and I think that a lot of you guys have expressed that you'd be interested in potentially doing van life, but maybe not full time. And so I wanted to answer some of the questions that you guys had sent me to like let you know you can do this. I've never said at any point in time on my channel that it has to be a full-time endeavor. I think that instead we should see that we could live life more fully, whether we have a sticks and bricks or whether we are full-time. You don't have to be in an RV, a van, an SUV, or anything in particular to have a good time, but you can definitely get out there. Now, with that said, let's do a little bit of a fit check so you can see what we're up to. Hey, Riley, you're wearing the version of the fit with the Route 66 shirt. We have the black on black base. You have on the hat. And Tyson, I don't think you're going with us to the strip, but you definitely match. Also, what shoes are you wearing today? What shoes?
I have not figured that out yet.
Okay, so you got to figure that part out. But Riley has on a little necklace and everything too. Like, this is her version of the fit. Meanwhile, this is me. Okay, so I also have the same Route 66 shirt. We found these a while back and we thought they were just super fun for travel. We have the black base. I'm doing a tank with a little bit lower scoop cut. I have on a necklace also, but my necklace is a golden black as opposed to Riley's that has more of the pearl tones. I decided to rock out the bracelet stack, which we have a nice little peace sign. All of these came from my parents. I really appreciate them. They know I like good necklaces and they know I like good bracelets. So these are the things that I tend to take with me. They're durable. I can wear them on any adventure. And then I'm gonna wear some Chucks. Basically, we're twinning. Twinsies! Twinsies! Chaos and mayhem! Woo! Also, since the next video is going to be over at the strip, we're going to show you all the free things that you can find on the strip. Because a lot of people ask me whenever they saw my Vegas videos, hey, what kind of things could I actually afford to do? Because Vegas can be an expensive city, but we're going to show you some of the cool free things that you can find on the strip, and we should be getting there just about the right time so we can catch the lights. Now, with that said, the twinning is also going to serve a purpose because between Riley and I, if we get separated, we can just say, hey, have you seen the other person in this shirt? And maybe somebody will help us. We'll find out. But for now, I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to go get into, I think, the minivan, which that could be interesting. And Riley is going to be my chauffeur, pinky out style. Until next time, guys, remember, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. Live life fully. Enjoy yourself. Don't limit yourself just because of your location. And I'll see you next time. Bye.